So Danny, it's the big game that everyone's been talking about for many weeks now. How have preparations been going for this one?
Very good, very good. We could have as wonderful preparations as physically possible, but loads can happen on a match day, can't it? Loads of circumstances can go out your hands, and decisions and injuries and send-ins off. So we've prepared well as best as we think we can. I'm sure Barnet would say the same thing. Final little bits of drip-fed information today on the players, and then once again it's over to them. And if they can recreate the effort and enthusiasm and ability they've shown thus far, we'll have a good day. Anything less than that, we know I've got a real strong Barnet team coming into town to upset the 8,000 or 9,000 Spyrites.
What's it been like this week in training after that win against Portsmouth? Has it been difficult to keep the players' feet on the ground?
No, not at all. Not at all. They're used to big crowds. I think, although to a man we'd all admit that we were definitely the underdogs, and Portsmouth were the favourites, and it was probably more likely they were going to win the game. We did believe there was a strong chance we could upset them, and we did that. Were they massively on their game? Probably not. Were we on our game? For most of the game, yes, even though we started quite average actually. I think as it went on we were excellent and dominant. So the answer to your question, the players are fully focused. Even before Pompey, they were fully aware that Barnet is a much more crucial game to the direction we want to go in. I think all the supporters know that and believe that as well, and that's why I think it's another packed house tomorrow.
How much importance are you putting on tomorrow? Because you could easily sit here and say nothing will be won or lost, but are you going to say that? How much importance are you putting on tomorrow?
I don't think those things will be said in-house in terms of, this is so big because then they go top. The boys know the permutations. They know that if Barnet win, they go top. We've got a game in hand, so it's not the end of the world. If we win, we go 5 points clear of a game in hand, and there's a hell of a lot of football left to play, so it's not the end of the world for Barnet. So it isn't the end of the world for either team, whatever happens. Stating the obvious, they would rather win and we'd rather win. We're doing all we can to go win that game of football, and we know that Dean and his team will come up here and they'll be getting after every second ball. They'll be fighting for their life, and they'll be playing some really good football, because that's why they're second. I think they've really advanced again from when Dean took over. He saved them from going down, and now he's pushing them to go up. We've got to make sure we stand in their way. So the boys know they've got a tough game coming. There's been no big speeches or meetings about the importance of the game. There's been nothing more and nothing less than, like I say, if we were to play Kettering in the FA Cup, preparations have been ever so good, knowing that the players know it's a big game.
What makes Barnet tick then? Why are they having such an improved season compared to maybe previous years?
Well, I think they've scored the second most goals behind ourselves, so a lot of them are coming through Kabamba. They're organised, they've got some strong players at the back. Collins, the lad, Potter on loan for Sheffield United, Chemo, Winter, they've got some big boys, some strong physical presences throughout the team. They've got little Dale Gorman, who I had at Orient, who one of the best midfielders in the league. So Brunt's gone in there, so I can go for them all. They've got some good players. They've got a formation that's working for them, which they can flitter between two formations. So we'll see which one they do tomorrow. But going back to it, they've got a goal scorer, and that always helps. We've got 4 or 5 goal scorers this year, which helps even more. But in Kabamba, they've got a good centre forward who will need to keep quiet. They've got a manager who's obviously a good motivator, and they've got a team going in the right direction, as are we. So yeah, it'll be a real big fixture for the neutral to look on in. For us, we don't care if it's a scrappy or boring affair. We want to win the game, but we'd like to do it in our style of football.
And I'm hearing that there's over 9,000 tickets that have already been sold. We may be getting close to a sellout. How sort of crucial could that be, knowing that you've got the home support right behind you? Yeah,
it's no different though, is it? I mean, I think the magnitude of the game probably makes it feel like there's more people in the ground, but Tuesday nights here when there's been 6,500, they're so behind us. So to have that couple of thousand more obviously is great, but I spoke to Ash Kirk yesterday, and he was saying our average attendance this year is about 7.5. After tomorrow, that goes up to about nearly 8. And you go, wow, that's a hell of an average for a non-league football club. So thank you to the fans continuously coming out to support, and we really hope we can give them something to sing about come 6 o'clock tomorrow night.
And I'm sure obviously the fans will already know it, but they could really make the difference tomorrow, couldn't they? They could be that extra 1% that just really drives you on and gets you over the line.
Yeah, like they always are. What's great is that the players respond well to the pressure of an expectant town and support base, but it's not a one-way thing. So when it's not going great, they need the supporters to back them, and that's what they've done in an abundance, since I've been at the club, especially this season. So it's a two-way street. The supporters want to see players running around and giving blood for the shirt, and sometimes the players need a little bit of help when things aren't going their way. And I think you've seen with the amount of times we've come back, amount of late goals we've got, that's massively down to the supporters. And hopefully from that first whistle tomorrow we can get every supporter on their feet getting behind us.
And just in terms of the squad news, have you had the scan results back from Tyrone Williams then?
Yeah, he's going to be a few more weeks. But I think you saw with Ash Palmer coming in how well him and Grimesy played together. Whatever that pairing is can work. Frex can play there as well. So we're okay in that department at the moment. And Joe Quigley's been back in training, so he'll be available for selection as well.
How much of a boost does it have to have Joe back then after missing sort of I think about 4 or 5 games?
It's a great boost, Liam, and it's a great boost for the lad himself because he's really become a bit of a cult hero this year, isn't he? And with his work rate, and he's added some goals as well. And to get injured at a time where you're flying like Joe was, and he's such a good lad, it sort of knocked him for 6 a bit. So we're all pleased after the initial assessment that he's probably back a little bit before schedule. He's trained fully this week. So whether he starts or not, we'll wait and see. It might be a bit too soon, but he'll certainly be available for selection, and it gives us another body to pick from.
And just on Tyrone, is it a couple of weeks, or are we looking maybe beyond a month or so?
I like my couple of weeks shout with injuries, so I've got to stick to a couple of weeks.